So the time has come in our program to focus on the Rapid7. Now, this is something fun that we do, fairly lighthearted. Do your best to answer the questions in as short an answer as you can. Usually one word will do just fine. We're going to just rattle them off back and forth and see how you feel about it. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. Cat or dog?
Dog.
That was super fast. Okay, second question. Favorite season?
Summer.
Okay. Describe the future in one word.
Sparkly.
Describe the present in one word.
Needs to be dusted off.
Okay. Describe your state of mind in one word.
Energetic.
What is your most inspiring art form?
Dance.
Okay. And finally, an inspirational message or advice in no more than 5 words.
Everything is better with sprinkles.
It'll do. I think you guys.
5 words, right?
That is 5 words.
Everything's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Everything is better with sprinkles.
I like it. I like it.
Metaphorical sprinkles, like a spark and.
Yeah.
Like in sprinkly future or no, it was sparkly future. But yeah, sparkly, sprinkly.
A little of both wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. And speaking of dance, I'm not sure if you know that, but the last interchange that we have recorded and that we have published was actually with a dancer. His name is Bernd Proschoff. He's from Germany, and he's involved in digital transformation in Germany with UVEX Group, previously with IBM, and he has been a dancer and a coach and a winner of competitions for the past 30 years.
Wow.
So I have a sense that dance it appears to be somewhat of a common thread in this interchange series. This is something that we need to investigate. Are all our hosts or all our guests dancers? Because one of the hosts here is a dancer.
And one of them is dance curious. You know, it's worth checking out.
So it would be interesting to see the relationship between art and change. Ah, this is an interesting question. What do you think about this, Lina? Art and change.
Well, I think art in any form, it forces you to make different connections, right? In your brain, it makes you more creative. It makes you more. I remember reading a lot of actual like scientific research on dance and memory and creativity and cortisol and serotonin and all of that. So I don't know. I think it gives you a release and it gives you time off from the active task, and that's when creativity happens and innovation happens, right? It's during the time off that your neurons are like, let me think about this different new thing. So that's the only like non-scientific explanation I can give. For me, it's like when I dance salsa or bachata, which is the type of dance I dance the most. It's like meditation, and it's like a mental reset, and it's the only time in my life when I'm not thinking. Gym, walks in nature, I mean everything. I'm still on, like I can't turn it off, even though I'm working on meditation. But when I dance, it's the only time I'm 1000% in the present and have no other thoughts. And I feel like for me, it's like mental floss. And finding that was, honestly, they changed my life, finding that outlet. And I think everybody has their own different thing, but that it's super important to not neglect on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it's interesting because my experience of dance is a bit different because it's not the kind of social dance, because salsa and bachata, they're very social dances.
Yeah.
And my experience of dance is like competitive dance sport. Like I have 10 dances, 5 Latin, 5 standard, 5 ballroom, and I need to differentiate between all of these different dances, and each dance has a character. You cannot perform the samba in the same way you perform the waltz, because if it's the same, then we have a problem. We have a very strong problem. And then there's the choreography, and then there's the layer, the music layer, and then there's the story layer, and then there's partnering skills, and then there's the improvisation, if you're good at it, and then there's the memorization because you already have your choreography. But then when you perform it on the dance floor, on a dance floor where you used to perform it, so basically in your own studio, and you go and dance it on a competition dance floor with a very different kind of setup, you really need this kind of mental flexibility to kind of recreate your references. Where's left, where's right, where's forward, where's backward, and how to go around the dance floor without kind of messing with the choreography, and how you can work out the interaction with the other dancers, because sometimes you would be doing your own routine and then another couple would jump in front of you. What do you do now? Do you stop and freeze like, oh, I'm afraid now? Or do you play with the other couple and you create something new and different and special? So it's actually the opposite of mental floss. It's like a huge mental exercise that contains all these different elements, and that is definitely very actively engaged in connections, because you have to connect to your creativity, you have to connect with your body, because thinking is just very active, but in the same time it's very passive. Dancing is sort of everything is working, your hands, your arms, your back, your stomach, your legs, your feet, your toes, like everything is super active, and the experience of it is something else entirely. And how I feel the connection between art, like dance or something else, and change, one connection is intensity, because art is all about telling a story with an intensity, by being in the moment, by being present, by working out all these different connections, by embracing complexity and saying something with it, simplifying to a point where it can be shared in this very powerful way. And I think change, for it to be successful, needs to do the same thing in a way.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Paul, what do you have to say?
I completely disagree with everything that has been said.
Of course.
No, I just wanted to try that. I feel like I agree an awful lot in this program, but it's yeah, no, I think it's incredible to just be able to dig into what it is that lets you reach that state that you described, where the mind isn't just constantly running. It's a problem I've had that has, for years, I've had some degree of insomnia, partially because trying to meet a normal daily routine where you wake up at a certain time that is expected by, most of society. You're waking up in time to get to work and, get things started, do a 9 to 5. That doesn't work with my brain. My brain wants to kick into high gear around 5, 6 in the evening and then work until 4 in the morning. And it certainly doesn't want to be asleep during that time. And, I can force myself to be, on a schedule where I'm going to sleep at 9 at night and waking up at, whatever time in the morning, so that I can have, breakfast, commute, everything. But it still doesn't really stop the activity in my brain. And getting that to stop, because you really have to get that to stop at least once a week. If you can reach that point, then life gets so much easier. And when you're doing that's something, whatever it is, some form of artistic expression or creation, if you can get to that point where all the noise stops, then suddenly you get so much more done. And it's nice to be able to sort of draw the line between, is this something that I am looking at technically, where I have to really be involved with all of the minutiae, the details, the placement? Is it becoming more technically complex, or is it something that's clearing that out? The first time I experienced that, one of the first times anyway, was with snowboarding, partially because when you're going down a mountain fast enough, then everything else doesn't matter, because you may flip the edge of the board and then just face plant down at a angle across a sheet of ice that's been broken up into jagged shards like glass. It's like there's no room for thinking about, what did that person say to me earlier today? No, it's like, it's gone. Right now, all that matters is you and the mountain. And there's an odd tranquility in that. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to touch on. And I want to thank you for being able to sort of get this wrapped up with such a sort of profound moment, because this is the sort of thing that all of us really need. And I think it's key to adaptability. If you can find that peace from time to time, just a little bit, then life gets easier. I've had conversations with friends recently. Actually, I was talking to Alexandra earlier about the idea of toxic masculinity. And one of my core problems with it is this idea that poetry, dance, music, it's something that gets denied to a lot of men. And because of it, there's no expression. And because of it, when you hit a hard time, when someone's died or a relationship ends or you're really frustrated, you don't have the room to write a song, to sing your pain away, to play the blues, to express yourself in a poem. And that's when you need it, is when somebody's died or when it feels like it and your heart is just in tatters. Without that, all these poor guys have got is the room to punch a wall. And it's no good for anybody. Certainly not any good for them, no good for anybody around them. It's incredibly imbalancing. And I think being able to forge a tomorrow, a future timeline, if we can pivot into that in a way that gives people the resources that they need so that they're creating it with us, then I think that we're in a much more fantastic position. On behalf of the Time Repair Corporation, I want to thank you once again for being a part of this conversation, for joining us today. It has been really, really incredible having you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, for giving the time. Honestly, I had such a great time with you, Paul and Alexandra.
Yeah, and on behalf of Perced, both Perced and the Time Repair Corporation, on behalf of what Interchange stands for and the kind of artists / misfits / angels of chaos. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your background, your stories, your artistic inclinations, which obviously we share. And thank you so much for your time and for your for spreading. I'm referring to the date spread here, and for spreading the joy and pleasure and happiness. It was such a beautiful, beautiful interchange.
I had an awesome time.
Bye, everyone, and see you next time.